Firestone and Boulders. Feel free to check around. For the quality of our products, you won't find better prices. Erickson's Landscape Supply. High-quality mulch and stone for a whole lot less. Commercial or residential, visit ericksonslandscapesupply.com to see our entire selection. You know, most mulch is reclaimed from landfills, but Erickson's mulch is ground from whole trees. Yep, we process the mulch ourselves to keep the prices nice and low, and use only premium colorant so the beautiful look of new mulch lasts. At Erickson's, we never skimp, and that's why first-time shoppers become repeat customers. Erickson's Landscape Supply. High-quality mulch and stone for a whole lot less. Commercial or residential, visit ericksonslandscapesupply.com to see our entire selection.
Are you tired of being tired? Go to adventknows.com.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
Drive in the left field. Dahl is going back. Dahl on the track. Dahl at the wall. Goodbye! Philadelphia home run!
The NL Central leaders take on the NL East leaders for the first time in Philadelphia. Our Brewers-Phillies coverage begins today at 2:30 on your home of the Milwaukee Brewers. News Radio 620. WTMJ, Milwaukee.
At 1 o'clock, it is 75 degrees in Milwaukee. Tonight, expect showers and storms early. We have a low of 60 degrees. Tomorrow, partly cloudy and breezy, maybe a pop-up shower or two, high of 72. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, I'm Jessica Ty. A Dodge County prison warden who resigned from his position this week is now listed in custody at the Dodge County Detention Facility. Randall Hepp was booked into the jail early this morning. Hepp announced his resignation from the Waupun Correctional Institution on Tuesday as the prison continues to navigate ongoing lockdowns and a federal smuggling investigation in addition to multiple inmate deaths. The Dodge County Sheriff's Office is expected to provide an update shortly. We'll carry it live once it begins. The man accused of killing and dismembering a teenager back in court. Maxwell Anderson in Milwaukee requested a laptop in jail to review the evidence collected against him. The judge denied that request. His lawyers also requested to have the search warrant of Anderson's home unsealed, which was granted. Anderson remains in custody on $5 million bail. He's due back in court July 12th. Meanwhile, investigators are disputing false claims about a body part found at Anderson's former home.
A civil lawsuit filed Monday by Robinson's estate claims that a finger was discovered at Anderson's home during an investigation after the home was sold. But the Milwaukee County Sheriff's Office disputes that claim, saying no body part has ever been discovered by any agency at the property, nor has any private citizen filed a report about such a discovery. The Milwaukee County Medical Examiner's Office has also not received any report or body part turned over from Anderson's home. Adam Roberts, WTMJ News.
A group is planning a search party to attempt to find missing Waukesha County teenager Isaiah Kramer. AquaSearch Midwest will conduct a search of the Vernon area Saturday morning. Kramer has been missing since February 4th. He was last seen leaving a mental health facility. Saturday's search begins at Big Bend Elementary School. Volunteers have to be at least 18 years old and are asked to dress for rough terrain. An investigation is underway into an alleged relationship between a Nicolay Union High School employee and a student. The district says this was an isolated incident that occurred off campus, but the employee in question has been removed from school premises and authorities have been notified. The district did not name the employee due to the ongoing investigation. Time now for news about your money and the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Things are looking good so far. In fact, everything is in the green. The Dow is up almost 55 points to 38,766. S&P 500 is up 48 points to 5,339. And the NASDAQ is up a whopping 278 points to 17,140. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Financial planning at every level. Details at annexwealth.com. Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Saudi Unlimited WTMJ News Time is 1:03.
Hey, John Mercure here for Floor Coverings International. They just did the flooring in our house, and it is stunning. Carpet, luxury vinyl plank, in and out quickly. They rolled up with that mobile flooring showroom. Incredible. Came in, walked us through everything. The installation was quick and easy, and it is absolutely gorgeous. FCI, the stars of flooring. Each Floor Covering International business is independently owned and operated. They are the real deal. Go to FCIFloors.com for a free consultation. They'll transform your home. FCIFloors.com.
Here's to sweet summer days together with friends and family in Wisconsin. To discovering magic in every moment.
Hey, Mom, over here.
And to reconnecting through a world filled with wonder.
Wow.
Here's to supper club celebrations and dancing until the sun goes down. Here's to those who Wisconsin. Plan your summer getaway at travelwisconsin.com.
From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, a Dodge County prison warden who resigned from his position this week is now listed in custody at the Dodge County Detention Facility. Let's listen in live now to get the very latest.
Those victims then become the family and next of kin. So today we will be referring to those individuals as decedent 1, 2, 3, and 4. I want to start with a phrase that is used by the Department of Corrections that they use to define their inmates. They don't call their inmates, they call them persons within our care. The investigation that we have done has revealed that that phrase does not accurately depict what persons in our care should mean. An inmate is defined by the dictionary as a person confined to an institution such as a prison or a hospital. The dictionary defines taking care of someone as to protect someone and something to provide the things that a person needs. We'll get back to that later. Next, what I want to explain to you is what cause of death and manner of death is. Now, that's not a determination that I make as the sheriff. That's a determination that is made by our medical examiner. We're going to share that with you on all 4 of these deaths so that you have an understanding of what the cause and manner of death is. But I also want you to know what they mean before we throw those terms up there. The cause of death is a disease of injury that leads to death. The manner of death is how the death is classified by the medical examiner for purposes of the death certificate. I'm going to start with decedent number 1. Decedent number 1 was pronounced dead on the morning of June 29, 2023, due to apparent suicidal action. He was housed in general population for 20 days, from June 1st through June 20th of 2023. 3 days during that time, he received 0 medications. 7 days, we found that only one of the staff distributed medications was distributed. So 7 of those days he received 1 of 2 which were distributed by staff. During that time, we also discovered that staff are not required to wear body cameras during medication passes in general population. So we don't have any video confirmation. All we have is the documentation of that they put down in their emergency medical records. It is unknown if any staff issued medications that were refused by the decedent or simply just not distributed. I can't tell you if they just weren't given or the individual said, I don't want them. There's just no entries in the EMR to give us that information. There were other medications that they call keep on person. There was 2 medications that this individual had keep on person while in Gen Pop that he was responsible for requesting refills from HSU, the Health Services Unit, and taking care of those internally within the cell. They were not distributed by staff. So those during general population are not ones that we're certainly concerned with them, but we're not concerned about distribution by staff on a daily basis. On June 21st through June 29th, decedent number 1 was transferred to the restricted housing unit in Waupun Correctional. At that point, all 4 medications this decedent was receiving were then issued by staff because keep on person is not allowed in the restricted housing unit within the prison. It is unknown if all medications were distributed on June 23rd to decedent number 1. Video evidence does exist, however, that there were at least some medications that were not distributed on June 28th. We can say that he did refuse his morning medications that day. Video evidence exists of a majority of medications being distributed during his placement in RHU, meaning they did what they were supposed to do the majority of the time. Documentation of medication being distributed, however, was vastly inaccurate and did not match what the video evidence of the distribution showed. They simply did not keep accurate medical records when they were distributing those medications. We have several concerns that were identified with decedent number 1. There was inadequate distribution of all medications to the inmates. There were some that were missed. They received most, but there were still some that were missed. There was inadequate documentation of that medication distribution, as I just discussed. Due to that electronic medical record system and the requirements, if an entry from a prior medical pass was missed, correctional officers would enter inappropriately, refused, or not appropriate at this time, so they could bypass that past one to get to the next distribution point, which is certainly against DOC policies and should not have been occurring. While there are policy violations, none of the policy violations in this incident rose to the level of criminal activity. The behavior by DOC officials remains concerning, and it has been addressed with DOC administration. And so this case is closed. The cause of death for decedent number 1 is ligature hanging, and the manner of death, as determined by the medical examiner, is suicide. Decedent number 2 was pronounced dead on the evening of October 2nd due to an apparent drug overdose. Decedent number 2 was housed in general population. The investigation shows that there are no concerns of staff misconduct as part of this investigation. Of great concern, however, is the quantity and frequency of contraband being able to be smuggled into Waupun Correctional Institution. Smuggling of contraband continues to be investigated by partnering law enforcement, and as a result, this case does remain open. Cause of death, acetylfentanyl and fentanyl toxicity. The manner of death is deemed an accident. There are no charges at this point in this incident. Decedent number 3 was pronounced dead on the morning of October 30th, 2023, due to a stroke. He was housed in RHU, the Restricted Housing Unit, from September 2nd, 2023 through October 30th, 2023. He had multiple medical episodes with no medical assistance provided, including stumbling and collapsing while being escorted back to his cell from the Health Services Unit. There is no documentation provided to any supervisor about this incident. An episode of loud, labored breathing reported to a supervisor. No action taken by that supervisor. Laying on a bed with no response or movement during a medical pass. That was passed on to the next shift regarding strange behavior and labored breathing, but no action was taken. Multiple attempts were made to wake decedent number 3 with banging on the metal door and yelling. No response was ever received from that decedent. And I will tell you, after watching the video of the banging on that door, it was not just a knock on the door. It was taking the trap door and banging it open and shut over and over again without any response, and no action was taken. Numerous medical passes were done with no response from the decedent. Numerous hourly rounds, and I'll just define that for you in a minute, were conducted with no response from the decedent. Numerous hourly rounds were skipped by staff or were done in a fashion which correctional officers in no way could have checked on the status of that inmate, even to the point of simply walking down the hallway without even looking into the rooms. So what is a round? A round is an hourly check, most recently changed to a 30-minute check, which is done by correctional officers, and it's one of the most basic functions of a correctional officer. This is done to ensure that inmates are alive and not in distress. It is trained to look for the rise and fall of chest and other signs of life when the inmate is sleeping. It's obvious signs of life were not seen. A supervisor if it's obvious that what signs of life were not seen, a supervisor must be contacted to take action. A nurse and a correctional officer finally identified that the decedent needed to be checked on. That nurse was at the end of her shift and relayed to the incoming staff that a cell entry was recommended and a cell entry team would need to be assembled. The incoming nurse, without visiting the decedent's cell, determined that there was no medical need to make entry into the cell of the decedent. Supervisors working also ignored obvious concerning behavior and failed to take action to check on the needs of the decedent. It was determined that the decedent passed away following this time period and likely was in dire medical distress when the incoming nurse determined that there was no medical need to make entry. Evidence shows that the decedent was dead in his cell at least 12 hours before he was discovered on the morning of October 30th, 2023. I'll say that again. He was dead in his cell for over 12 hours until they located him the next morning. Cause of death: multifocal infarct due to multifocal cerebral venous thrombosis. For those who are not in the medical profession, that means a stroke. The manner of death is determined as natural. Decedent number 4 was produced dead during the evening of February 22nd, 2024, due to maltreatment by staff. He was housed in the restricted housing unit since February 13th, 2024. He was found in a cell with a strong odor of bodily fluids and urine. Garbage and clutter was strewn about the cell. The decedent was suffering from mental health concerns and medical concerns. The decedent was discovered deceased by DOC staff at 3:28 p.m. The medical examiner, during his examination at 6:10 p.m., opined that the decedent had full rigor mortis, and while no time of death could be determined, most certainly died during the morning hours, a significant amount of time before he was located. Water was shut off in the decedent's cell numerous times for what appear to be legitimate reasons. Now, what might legitimate reasons be? A cell might be flooded. There may be maintenance issues that are causing concern. Or other legitimate reasons why they needed to turn it off for the safe operation. However, when water shutoffs occur, they must be documented. They were not. Notification to supervisors must occur, which most times did not happen. Notifications up the chain must occur, which did not happen. Water appears to have been shut off for significant periods of time, leaving the decedent without water for a significant period of time. It gets worse. Correctional officers failed to feed the decedent 9 out of 12 meals over a 4-day period. Policies and procedures regarding hunger strikes were not followed, which require removing an inmate from their cell when an inmate is not eating, so that they can be closely monitored by the health services unit. Correctional officers failed to conduct required rounds on numerous occasions. However, staff intentionally initialed that rounds were completed when they were not, and supervisors were aware of this practice occurring regularly. Correctional officers viewed and reported to others that the decedent's condition was deteriorating rapidly. However, they failed to proceed to initiate cell entry for a welfare check. At no time during his time in the restricted housing unit did a medical professional ever have physical contact or direct contact with the decedent except through the cell door. Correctional officers did make some notifications to supervisory staff. However, supervisors made no attempt to further investigate the condition of the decedent or his well-being. Security staff notified nursing staff that the decedent had not eaten food for a couple of days, was drinking sewage water, and played in the toilet. Hunger strike policies were not put into effect, to do a cell entry or to monitor the medical condition of the decedent. Senior DOC officials failed to enforce rules of the department for administration and for officers. Staff was not overseen to ensure that policies and procedures were followed, which led to the demise of the decedent. The decedent was in a camera-equipped cell. However, the camera was unusable for safety observation of inmates due to poor condition and no visible images could be viewed. Meaning you have somebody in a monitored cell for the purposes of making sure they're being watched, and you can't watch them the way you are intended to watch them. The cause of death: probable dehydration and failure to thrive due to malnutrition. Other significant conditions: hypertensive cardiovascular disease, myocardial scarring of unknown etiology, acute kidney injury, possible rhabdomyolysis, delusional disorder, and the manner of death: homicide. Ruled homicide mostly because of the dehydration and malnutrition that occurred. On February 27th, 2024, I made contact with then Secretary Kevin Carr over the phone. I spoke with him because there was a need to ensure that these things did not continue to happen. We had a conversation about a lack of documentation. We had a conversation about a lack of staffing. And while we all understand that staffing is a concern with the Department of Corrections, I can tell you that sheriffs, police chiefs, all have concerns with staffing as well. We need to find ways to make sure that we safely conduct business. Spoke about the lack of training with staff and arguments that how can we train our staff when we don't have enough people to take care of the floor. I can tell you, as an administrator, one of the most important things you can do is train your staff, especially when you're in a situation like this, to make sure they know what they're doing and we don't end up with situations like these. Lack of in-person and timely investigations by internal affairs. Internal affairs investigations take time. I certainly understand that. But what we were seeing is a significant amount of time for these internal investigations to take place and for action to be taken. Additionally, many of the interviews are done remotely, which I can tell you from an investigator standpoint, you cannot properly interview people remotely and be able to read the room and do a proper investigation. Lack of procedures being followed for proper cell checks. I think we've talked about that already. Lack of consistent staff. They have staff being brought in from all over the state, taking on a prison for 2 weeks and then returning. Understand they're trying to fill spots, but certainly creates a consistency issue. Lack of accountability. Lack of accountability really falls to making sure that your staff know what they're doing, making sure they're trained, making sure they're following policies and procedures, and when they're not, ensuring that they are trained on what to do. It's very important that you don't have supervisors reinforcing that it's okay to sign a log that was not accurate. All of these things contributed to the deaths that occurred at WCI. My intent of the conversation with the Secretary was to bring light to the issues and ensure no further tragedies occurred. It was done with these deaths occurring in these prisons. 4 is 4 too many. Secretary Carr was agitated by the information presented, and he should have been. However, he did not take any personal responsibility, but rather shifted that blame to Warden Hepp and the culture of Waupun Correctional Institution. Not saying he's wrong in that, however, there needs to be some responsibility from the top down, and it was clear that there was none there. 3 days after my phone conversation with Secretary Carr, he submitted his letter of resignation to the governor with only 1 week notice. I do not find that to be a coincidence. It was also brought to my attention later that there were similar type incidents that have occurred at Green Bay Correctional Institution. They were investigated in Brown County. No criminal charges were filed in those incidents. However, we have similar issues that occurred during those incidents. And a stern warning was issued by the investigator to the Department of Corrections, meaning this is not isolated to one facility in the Department of Corrections. We have several missteps that we have highlighted, that we want to make sure are corrected. We are operating the oldest prison in the state of Wisconsin at a dangerous and reckless manner. In fact, Waupun and Green Bay Correctional Institution are two of the oldest 10 prisons in the entire country. We are failing to properly staff these facilities. Waupun Correctional has over 50% vacancy of staff. We are failing to properly update the facilities to be safe for our inmates and for the staff. For example, water shutoffs. There is no way for us to be able to go back and track how long the water was shut off. The only logs that they have are paper handwritten logs. In this day and age, we should be having proper logs to make sure that we know the water is off. That oncoming staff know that it wasn't accidentally shut off by somebody on a previous shift. Failure to properly update or replace the housing units. Failure to train staff and reinforce staff. Failure to hold staff accountable. You've heard these already here today. Failure to keep inmates of the institution safe and, most importantly, alive. Failure to provide a safe and efficient facility for staff to work at. Failure to ensure policy compliance. Failure to document. One of the most basic responsibilities of a correctional officer and their staff. Recommendations. I don't like to come with a complaint without having possible solutions. My recommendations to the state of Wisconsin are you seriously consider renovating the housing units or closing and replacing Waupun Correctional and Green Bay Correctional. The governor has indicated to the legislature, who I have spoken with, he's not in favor of building another prison. I would ask, why not? One new prison could replace two prisons. Or two renovated prisons would be much better than what we have now. It will save lives. It will provide for a more humane treatment of inmates. It will provide a need for less correctional officers. The housing units that they have now require too much staff to do what they need to do. Wouldn't it be great to be able to reduce the amount of staff needed to run a facility? Provide proper and updated monitoring technology so the cameras work, so that you know when the water is on, you know when the water is off. You're able to properly monitor medication pass. Provide accountability measures to staff. We have to make sure that the staff that are in these facilities are being held accountable for their own benefit, and provide a safe environment for inmates and for staff. I can tell you that my staff has investigated over 250 cases a year in the prisons in Dodge County, and we don't have time to investigate the rest. There is more that can be done to hold inmates and staff accountable within these facilities. Additional recommendations. The Wisconsin Department of Corrections should immediately implement the same standards as are required for all Wisconsin jails. Every year, the Department of Corrections comes through per statute, and they do an inspection of my jail and the other 70 jails in the state of Wisconsin. And they provide me with a report. And they provide the department with a report of the various things that need to be worked on. Are we perfect? Absolutely not. Am I expecting the Department of Corrections to be perfect? Absolutely not. Are there going to be some deficiencies? There will be, because we are not perfect. But I will tell you that our inspections have made us better. And that's the purpose of it. Those inspections identify issues that we need to correct every year. They don't have that for the Wisconsin prisons. Each warden is responsible for ensuring the safety and security of the prisons within their control. But there's no inspections. They need to start. And I would call on the legislature to enact legislation to make it the same. So we're all playing on the same field. It's interesting, the Department of Corrections are the ones who do the inspections here. Cameras, especially in observation cells, need to be fixed to allow for proper monitoring of inmates. Give your correctional staff additional resources to make sure the people that they are taking care of are safe. And provide training to not only your frontline staff, but to your supervisors. If you don't provide the training and then reinforce it with accountability, you will set your staff up for failure. And failure is not an option when you are dealing with the lives of the individuals that you are charged with. Serious reforms need to occur to prevent the entry of contraband into the institutions. Body scanners. I know there are some in the prisons, but we need to make sure we're scanning individuals coming and going from prisons to prevent contraband from getting in and out. Out is okay. Getting it in. Thorough searches of not only visitors, but staff. We need to make sure nothing is coming into these prisons. Strict policies and procedures that prevent smuggling of contraband. Perhaps it's time, with all of the contraband that's been getting in, that no contact policies, be implemented to prevent passage of contraband to inmates until they can get this under control. I do want to note that since Secretary Hoy has been appointed to the position of secretary, and even before that, I see things moving in a positive direction. Secretary Hoy visited me in my office this last week, Thursday, and we had an excellent, positive conversation. I think he wants to move things in a positive direction, and I'm eager to see what Secretary Hoy can do to correct some of these issues here. I always want to make sure that I give credit where credit is due, and so far, so good. Now I want to talk about some criminal statutes that we believe were violated as part of these investigations. There are two statutes that we are focusing on today. The first is abuse of residents of penal facilities, State Statute 940.29. That is a Class I felony. I will read the statute for you so you all have a good understanding of what it is. The abuse of residents of penal facilities. A person in charge of or employed in a penal or correctional institution or other place of confinement who abuses, neglects, or ill-treats any person confined in or a resident of any such institution or place, or who knowingly permits another person to do so is guilty of a Class I felony. The other statute, misconduct in public office, Statute 946.12, sub 1. This has other subsections, but this is the one we're focusing on. Misconduct in public office, any public officer or public employee who does any of the following is guilty of a Class I felony. Intentionally fails or refuses to perform a known, mandatory, non-discretionary ministerial duty of the officer's or employee's office or employment within the time or in the manner required by law. These investigations have shown a blatant disregard for the safety of human beings, and arrests must be made and have been made. There must be accountability for the actions and inactions of state employees. As the sheriff, I am angered at how these men were treated and how they died. 9 individuals are being charged in connection to decedent 3 and decedent 4. All individuals being charged were informed of the pending charges, and I requested that they turn themselves into the Dodge County Jail this morning by 9 a.m. to be booked into the jail. They were not arrested yesterday or the day before. All individuals had an appearance this afternoon at 1 o'clock at the same time as this conference. The arrests that have been made related to the abuse of penal facilities for decedent number 3. Gwendolyn Peachy, formerly Vic, age 50 of Burnett, a registered nurse. Brandon Fisher, age 29 of Fox Lake, a correctional lieutenant. Tanner Leopold, age 27 of Waupun, a correctional sergeant. I will note that all persons are innocent until proven guilty in a court of law, and that applies for the following slides as well. Related to the death of decedent number 4 for the same charge, abuse of residents of penal facilities. Jamal Russell, age 39 of Beaver Dam, a correctional officer. Alexander Hollefelder, age 31, of Waupun, a correctional sergeant. Brandon Fisher, age 29, of Fox Lake, a correctional lieutenant. Jessica Hosfeld, age 47, of Oshkosh, a registered nurse. Related to decedent 4, misconduct in public office, statute 946-12 sub 1. Jamal Russell, age 39, of Beaver Dam, correctional officer. Sarah Ronsbottom, age 35, of Oshkosh, correctional officer. Jeremy Chalker, age 41, of Brandon, correctional sergeant. And the person who is responsible for the entire facility, Randall Hepp, the Waupun Correctional Institution warden. I am asking that the community remain calm. This, no doubt, has victims' families upset, and rightfully so. I am by no means as upset as they are, but these cases have infuriated me. We're asking people to remain calm. Investigations have been lengthy. I know many of you have contacted me many times over the last several months asking the status. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to release that until now. We need to make sure information is released at the proper time. Accountability will now occur, which is what people are looking for. The First Amendment will be protected. If there are individuals who do want to voice their concerns, they certainly can do so. What I want to caution the public on is if there are any vigils or protests that occur, which I'm hoping doesn't happen because we're holding people accountable, that you cannot exercise your First Amendment right of free speech while violating another law. We will support anybody who exercises their freedom of speech. But if anybody violates another law in doing so, i.e. blocking a street or blocking traffic or any other crimes, we will take action and we will make arrests. We are happy to protect anybody who does want to exercise their freedom of speech. Persons in our care, I'm coming back to this. This phrase bothers me at Waupun Correctional Institution. It is not a phrase that I would use at Waupun Correctional Institution. These people were not cared for. And they are people. They were not cared for at Waupun Correctional. And we are going to hold those responsible accountable. In conclusion, there are criminal complaints that our district attorney has filed. Those will be available for you at the Dodge County Clerk of Court's office at the courthouse. You can make contact, they'd be happy to get you copies of that. We will not provide additional information outside of what is in that criminal complaint. And really, we aren't going to take a whole lot of questions about the incidents themselves. We'll refer you to the criminal complaint on those. We ask that you respect the privacy of the families. This is difficult for them. They are struggling with this. Please, if they ask you, I don't want to talk to you, please allow them, let them be. And I've told them that they have that opportunity to do so. They certainly can talk to you if they'd like. While these cases are currently closed, and they are in pending criminal and even civil litigation, we do reserve the right to reopen these cases if new information is made available, as they are highly complex cases. So if at some point you do request information and we can no longer grant access, that might be a possibility. We just want to make sure we do the best for the victims involved. With that, I want to open it up to any questions that any of you may have.
Sheriff, do you feel like you're doing DOC?
That's Dodge County Sheriff Dale Schmidt providing an update into 4 deaths that happened at Waupun Correctional Institution. Here's the bottom line. The first death was ruled a suicide by hanging. The second death, an accidental drug overdose. The third death, a stroke. And the fourth death, homicide due to malnutrition. And because of that, there have been a number of correctional workers who have been arrested. And that leads us to the Dodge County Prison Warden, Randall Hepp, who we told you earlier today was booked into jail this morning. He has been arrested partly for misconduct in public office. There is a lot here. We will be following it throughout the day. The Dodge County Sheriff is asking that the community remain calm at this point because there are a lot of emotions A lot of feelings, and we will be following it for you all day here on WTMJ. Saudi Unlimited WTMJ News Time is 1:38.
Come visit, learn, and discover at the recently opened Food and Farm Exploration Center near Stevens Point in Plover, Wisconsin. The 50,000 square foot Science and Technology Center is a place to take the entire family. Experience over 60 interactive exhibits, a children's play area, demonstration farm fields, and home to the world's largest potato masher. The Food and Farm Exploration Center is a place for connecting with food and those who grow it. Just a short drive from Milwaukee. Plan your visit today at explorefoodandfarm.org.
It's WTMJ's Debbie Loziga for Comfort Awnings. You've heard me talk about the wonderful new retractable awning the team at Comfort Awnings installed at my home. Now I can have all the cookouts and get-togethers in my backyard with a little bit of extra shade and relaxation for my guests. Comfort Awnings is a local family-owned company in Burlington that provides expert installation in southeast Wisconsin and northern Illinois. They always have the best specials going, so make sure to give them a call at 414-AWNINGS or visit comfortawnings.com to learn more.
Here's to sweet summer days together with friends and family in Wisconsin. To discovering magic in every moment.
Hey, Mom, over here.
And to reconnecting through a world filled with wonder.
Wow.
Here's to supper club celebrations and dancing until the sun goes down. Here's to those who Wisconsin. Plan your summer getaway at travelwisconsin.com.
65,498 square miles. We've got a lot to cover, so let's get to it. This is Spanning the State, and here are your hosts, Kristen Bry and Brian Noonan.
We are here. We are indeed here.
Yes, this is the beauty of a breaking news station where we cover the big stories, and we cover the chairs waiting for the big stories to be done being covered.
Exactly. And we have the flexibility to be able to move things around and still have a show, because not only did we have a late start, we have an early end because the Brewers are playing.
And so two guests have been very gracious about rescheduling their appearance with us, and we thank them, and we will bring you both of these fascinating stories at another time.
But do you want to pitch the guest that we do have?
Yes, we do have a very important guest. That's why things are spinning around a little bit. Jilly Gokul-Gandhi is the vice president of Milwaukee School Board, and she is we talked to her this morning. We're going to play that interview after 2 o'clock. She kind of puts a point on what's been going on with MPS, the resignation of the superintendent the other night, and what's coming up as far as the board being involved with MPS. What does DPI have to say about the whole thing? So we'll be talking to her after 2 o'clock,
and that means that we're going to have an early spinning today. Spinning the state when we come back.
Right. So if you usually pour yourself some sort of lemonade or a cup of tea and you listen to Spinning the State and you're like, yes, that's my 2 o'clock appointment. No, make your appointment earlier, because we're gonna spin around the state early, so that we can do the public school and get out of here so the Brewers can play. We had people coming at us from all sides.
It's a happy hump day today. Just lots of moving parts. All right, News Time 142. This is Spanning the State.
I'll say it again. Our mission is to protect and uphold our reputation. And what that means is wherever we go, we make it better for those in need of our services and the great people we have working with us. Our reputation matters. It matters to us, and it should matter to you. We believe that operating with integrity will set us apart from our competitors, and that this attracts people to us that share these same values. I say this because I want you to know when you work with Semper Fi, character counts. It's why you can count on the industry's hands-down best lifetime workmanship warranty that now includes free annual inspections. And it's why we always have one project manager per job, which is absolutely not the industry standard. When you're paying for a brand new roof to go on what's likely the biggest investment you have, you want it done right, and you want to be able to count on the people doing it. This is Brad Youngwith with Semper Fi Roofing and Exteriors, your local, veteran-owned and operated exterior remodeling company.
Keep you safe, warm, and dry, Semper Fi.
WTMJ's John Mercure here. The Mine Shaft in Hartford is hiring servers, bartenders, and pizza cooks. A great summer job for high school and college students. You'll make great cash. Parents and grandparents, tell your kids. Inquire today, start next week. MineshaftRestaurant.com.
Grandpa was long retired from working in the Rapids paper mill when I finished law school.
Dan Krause, Army veteran and owner of Krause Estate Planning and Elder Law Center.
Grandpa and Grandma asked me to help them get their wills set up. They worried about losing the homestead if they needed nursing care. This was my first experience with estate planning. I just loved it. During the years that I spent in the Army Reserves as a JAG attorney, I was building a small estate planning law firm. After retiring from 21 years in the Army, I've been growing the firm with 3 offices now to help more seniors like my grandparents. At Krause Estate Planning, our entire team loves helping seniors. It's a requirement in our recruiting process. We do help people of all ages, but we hope all of our clients will become seniors one day.
Krause Estate Planning and Elder Law Center in Brookfield, Madison, and Oregon. A veteran-owned law firm.
Krause Estate Planning and Elder Law Center.
From big tailgate parties to cozy dinners for 2, the freshest ideas start with a stop at Century Foods.
Now through Wednesday, save on 46 to 48 ounce selected varieties Blue Bunny ice cream, $3.99. 14.1 to 33.5 ounce selected varieties Culinary Circle Pizza, $4.99. 64 ounce selected varieties Sunny Delight, 2 for $3. 4 to 6 count selected varieties Northern Bath or Brawny Towels, $7.49.
Hey, why'd you throw my glass across the room?
I have to keep practicing.
The vase from Aunt Sophie?
I'm warming up in case I get to take them out at American Family Field. Read this.
Win the ultimate baseball fan experience at Century Foods?
You either get to throw out the first pitch, hold the finish line for the famous racing sausages, or be on the field during batting practice. My new TV!
Just doing a little batting practice of my own.
The ultimate baseball fan experience. Return the entry form found in the weekly ad to any Century by July 24th.
It's time to take a spin around Wisconsin and find stories you might have missed. Here's Spinning the State on Spanning the State with Kristen Bry and Brian Noonan.
How many people are looking at their watch right now and hitting it going,
what time is it? What's happening today?
My watch
they were
is
late,
slow.
and now they're doing stuff early.
Listen,
we're going to leave early.
Just roll with it. This is how we are. Today is a fun day. We don't know what's happening, but we do know that we are spinning the state, as we always do on this program, to find stories from around Wisconsin that you may have missed. And if you miss any of today's Spinning the State or want the full story on anything we've done, how can they do that, Chris?
They can do that by going to WTMJ.com to the Spanning the State show page, where all of our write-ups and news stories and all of our different interviews, you can find all of it there.
It's pretty good, a one-stop repository of all our genius. All right. I use that term loosely, but I'm glad you didn't. I'm glad you didn't scoff. Yes, please. All right, let's spin the wheel.
Baraboo.
All right, remember back when you were in high school? Or maybe you have teens. Well, teens are easily embarrassed by their parents, so imagine, if you will, that your dad jumps on stage as you're being presented with your high school diploma, and then he blocks the superintendent from shaking your hand.
What?
That is cringe. Would you not agree?
That is, yeah, as the kids say.
As the kids like to say.
Super sus.
Yes, in the parlance of the street. Anyway, during Baraboo High School's graduation, an unidentified man jumped on stage, and he's unidentified. They know who he is. They just didn't want to further embarrass his daughter by naming him in the story. He jumped on stage, yanked Superintendent Rainey Biggs' hand away. Then the man yelled, "That's my daughter!" To which Briggs can be heard responding, "You better get up off me, man. Get off me, bro." Yes, pomp and circumstance indeed.
So he was protecting his daughter?
No, there has been a lot of upheaval in Baraboo over the school board and the school district and a lot of different things. Some people are saying it may, because there were 3 other school officials up on the stage.
Okay.
Nobody knows exactly why he chose the superintendent. There are theories being floated about. You can read more about those theories if you go to the Spanning the State page. But, yes, he was charged with a misdemeanor, disturbing the peace, this man. I do like that the superintendent immediately threw down. Get off me, bro. That's I would. Can you imagine how that's
I'm
your
not
dad?
the one. I'm not the one, and today's not the day.
Yeah, and just think if you're his daughter. Imagine if your dad had done that during your graduation. How do you got to pray that you're going far out of state for school
And never coming back.
Never coming back.
All right, let's see where we're going next.
Eau Claire.
Eau Claire. All right, are you a barbecue fan, Brian?
I am a barbecuer.
You not only enjoy barbecue,
yes,
you do the act.
Yes, I am a smoker. Not of the highest order, of the mid order. But I appreciate the art form.
How would you feel if someone stole your brisket?
There's so many ways to answer that question. I'm going to go with the brisket on a smoker. I would be infuriated to the point of throttling that person with said brisket if I caught them.
There you go. So in Eau Claire, there's a brisket bandit who helped himself to 12 pounds of smoked deliciousness right off of a family's private property, their smoker.
That is awful.
So the brisket was smoking overnight, as one does with their brisket, to become a tender feast when a man in a hoodie walked into their backyard, took the brisket, and was then seen licking his fingers as he walked away. Mm-hmm. The audacity. So Eau Claire police are asking the public's help in identifying this meat-fueled bandit.
Yes. You didn't want to say marauder? Yeah, here's the best part. I'll throw this in. This is a bonus. He came with a container to take the meat. So he had staked out this smoker because he didn't just walk up and throw it in his backpack. He pulled out a container, wrapped it up, put it in there, and then he licked his fingers as he was leaving. Yeah.
Bold.
Horrible. All right, one more time.
Plover.
I don't think we've had a story from Plover. Are you an NHL fan, Kristen?
Yeah, I dabble. If it's on, if Mike has it on, I'll watch.
Okay, well then maybe you don't know this, but 18 years of professional hockey has proven to be enough for a Stevens Point area senior high and UW-Madison alum, John Pavelski. John Pavelski spent 13 years with the San Jose Sharks. Then he was traded to the Dallas Stars. Yesterday, in an interview with the Stars beat reporters, he said he wasn't going to play next season. And they said, "Are you retiring?" And he said, "Well, I'm not going to play next season." But he's about to turn 40. So they're all saying, yes, that's how one retires at the age of 40 in hockey, which beats you up. But this guy was no scrub in the NHL. Pavelski was a 7th-round pick in 2023. Then he became a 4-time All-Star, and he holds the record for most playoff goals by an American-born player with 78.
Wow.
That is, as they like to say, gritty.
There you go.
Yes.
Well, congratulations to a awarded
That's a
career.
Great. He's a Plover native, and so Wisconsin boy makes really good.
You know what's really funny? I recently saw, as far as NHL stars, there was a map on Reddit that mapped out almost every North American NHL player's birth city.
Okay.
And it's all like there's some in Wisconsin and Minnesota.
Sure.
But it's like very on the border of the United States and Canada.
That makes sense.
And then basically a dot in Florida, a dot in Texas. And like a lot of these places that have NHL teams but produce zero NHL players.
Yes, because people, when it's really hot, you don't think about going out and pond skating.
No.
Up here, yes, kids are ice skating all the time. And the farther north you go, they're ice skating all year round.
Exactly.
It's in the frozen tundra. All right, well, that is Spinning the State for today. A little bit early, so you may be thinking, I only caught the end of it. Well, don't panic. Go to WTMJ.com. Then go to the Spanning the State page. Then just look for it. It's right there. Today's Spinning the State. Every day is Spinning the State. And You can find all kinds of stories. We're going to have an interview after the news, which will be posted up there.
Yep.
A little write-up about that. So a lot of information, a lot of good things on the Spanning the State page at WTMJ.com.
Absolutely. So when we come back, we will be talking to the VP of the Milwaukee School Board to talk about where we go from here, how much they knew, when they knew it, and basically a lot of the coalition. I know when we talked to Sachin Chetta from DPI on Monday, he had referenced the coalition that needs to happen and the people and the stakeholders that need to come together. So he's talked to her about that as far as who needs to be involved to really turn the ship around.
If you want the straight dope, we'll have it for you after the news. It's Spanning the State.
Hot dog, get your hot dogs here. Hot and fresh hot dogs.
Hot diggity dog, it's baseball season. Wisconsin's Afternoon News has partnered up with Vienna Beef to bring you Brewers Ticket Tuesday.
Tune in every Tuesday during the 3 o'clock hour for your chance to win a pair of tickets for an upcoming Tuesday home game for the Milwaukee Brewers.
Nothing says summer like a hot dog in baseball, and we've got both on Wisconsin's Afternoon News.
On the home of the Brewers, WTMJ.
The Fox and Hound Supper Club is the most unique and affordable dining destination in the area. WTMJ's John Mercure here. It's a top choice award winner for fine dining and most romantic restaurant. When you buy one dinner, your second dinner is free. That includes the prime rib dinner, which is one of my favorites. Desserts, too. Speaking of favorites, that chocolate peanut butter pie, the desserts are buy one, get one free. Order a char-grilled filet, a sirloin, the pan-fried walleye, fresh seafood pasta, even the steak and lobster. Any dinner on the menu, your second one is free. Relax with your favorite beverage on the patio in the woods. It's a spectacular setting. The Fox and Hound sits right in the heart of the Kettle Moraine Forest, just off Highway 167. It's 2 miles east of the famous Holy Hill Shrine. Wherever you live, it's worth a beautiful drive, a Wisconsin summer must-see. And gift cards are great all year round. Order online at foxandhoundsrestaurant.com. Enjoy your free prime rib dinner tonight and Saturday. foxandhoundsrestaurant.com.
Don't let a cold, sinus infection, or allergies ruin your day. Breathe easier, sleep better, and feel healthier with Navage. Visit Navage.com, Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, or a store near you.
Find furniture for life from Ken Michaels Furniture in Brookfield, Greenfield, or downtown Milwaukee.
Hi, folks. This is Hank Albert, owner of BBC Lighting. With spring in the air, a young man's fancy turns to ceiling fans. And at BBC, he'll see all the best quality fans and their newest styles. The new fan electronics provide a great method of moving air, and with LED lights, they use less electricity than ever. We have fans in all sizes, from 24 to 96 inches wide, and their motors are warranted for life. At BBC, we advise you on the right fan for your needs, and our prices are the lowest. I guarantee it. We're open Monday through Friday from 9 to 5 and on Saturday 10 to 4 and located at 20th and St. Paul Avenue across from Sobelman's and Bachman Furniture, all near the Potawatomi Casino. Stay safe and healthy, my friends.
WTMJ's Vince Vitrano for Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. Injuries happen, but you don't have to play in pain or stay on the sidelines. Whether it's your kids dealing with a sports injury, college athletes, or the rest of us weekend warriors, the experts at Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin will quickly diagnose your problem, lay out a treatment plan that works for you, and get you back in the game. They fixed my knee. My mother-in-law is back on the dance floor with a new hip. These are the experts you can trust. Visit orthowisconsin.com.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee. From the Annex Wealth Management Studios, this is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
Accunet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
This is Brian Wickert, owner of Wisconsin's own Accunet Mortgage, with a tip for today's home shoppers. You already know inventory is low and both competition and home prices are high. That's probably why you should not go with your bank or your real estate agent's mortgage pal for your pre-approval. You see, the banks have lots of branches, fancy headquarters, vice presidents and assistant vice presidents, and the loan officers who get referrals from real estate agents, they're typically very highly paid. Who do you think pays for all that extra expense? Turns out it's you. High overhead and high compensation naturally translate into higher closing costs. At Accunet, our extreme efficiency and low overhead mean your closing costs are typically $1,000 to $3,000 lower than banks and other lenders for exactly the same rate. Don't light your hard-earned money on fire. Get started with your rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval today by clicking on the blue button and put the money you'll save in closing costs towards something for your new home. That's ACCUNET.com.
Heart disease won't stop us. Diabetes won't slow us down. Allergies, high blood pressure, shoulder pain, cancer. Nothing will keep us from pushing Wisconsin ahead. Because with the Freighter and the Medical College of Wisconsin Health Network, forward progress is what we stand for. That means always pushing and always innovating. With new technologies and breakthrough treatments that make life better, whether we're sick or well. It means providing more convenience and more ways to receive medical excellence for all your health needs, for big and small. It means being there for you, our family, caring for yours. So let's keep raising the bar. Let's keep testing the limits of what medicine can do. Let's push ahead and make life here as great as it can be. Visit Freighter.com to find out how.
St. Vincent de Paul at 76th and Bradley Road is having our grand opening celebration this Father's Day weekend, June 13th through the 15th. Doors open at 9 a.m. and everything's on sale, 20% off. There'll be some great food trucks, cool giveaways, and it's a great chance for thrifters to see a whole new store's worth of inventory and bargains. 76th and Bradley in Milwaukee. Don't miss our grand opening sale, June 13th through the 15th.
Ooh, you're gonna love it, St. Vincent de Paul.
I'm WTMJ's Sandy Max. What makes senior living at Three Pillars so special? Let's hear from Three Pillars resident Lola.
I had seen a lot of retirement places. In a minute, I drove into the driveway coming into Three Pillars. I was sold. The grounds are just beautiful. The management are just incredibly kind people. That mood permeates the atmosphere to me, whether it's the staff, the people that's serving in the restaurant, and the residents themselves. It's just a lot of caring, kind people.
Schedule a tour today at threepillars.org.
The place you want to go, Lynch McWanago.
Nobody sells for less than Lynch.
Drive in the left field. Dahl is going back. Dahl on the track. Dahl at the wall. Goodbye, Philadelphia. Home run.
The NL Central leaders take on the NL East leaders for the first time in Philadelphia. Our Brewers-Phillies coverage begins today at 2:30 on your home of the Milwaukee Brewers. News Radio 620 WTMJ Milwaukee.
It's 2 o'clock in Milwaukee. I'm Julia Fellow. Tonight there's going to be showers and storms early, a low of 60. Tomorrow partly cloudy, breezy, isolated pop-up showers in the evening. The high will be 72 degrees. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, we have breaking news out of Dodge County. 9 people have now been charged in connection to at least 2 deaths at the Waupun Correctional Institution. Those charged include nurses, corrections officers, and the Waupun Correctional Institution former warden Randall Hepp. It includes misconduct in office charge against him alone. Dodge County Sheriff Dale Schmidt saying one of the inmates died last year of a stroke. And listen to how long the sheriff said it took for anyone to notice.
Evidence shows that the decedent was dead in his cell at least 12 hours before he was discovered on the morning of October 30th, 2023. I'll say that again. He was dead in his cell for over 12 hours until they located him the next morning.
The other suspicious death took place February 13th. The sheriff saying the cause of death was dehydration and kidney failure. The inmate was not fed 9 out of 12 meals over a 4-day period, the sheriff said in the news conference that just took place. And the inmate's water was shut off for a long period of time, and it was not properly documented. All 9 people connected to the inmate deaths are appearing in court as we speak right now. Hepp announced his resignation from the Waupun Correctional Institution yesterday as the prison continues to navigate ongoing lockdowns and a separate federal smuggling investigation underway right now in addition to these inmate deaths. Stay with WTMJ.com for the very latest. Milwaukee Public Schools searches for a new superintendent. They are still grappling with overdue financial reports to to the Department of Public Instruction.
Executive Director of Wisconsin's Department of Public Instruction, Sechin Chetta, tells Spanning the State it's not unusual for school districts to submit financial reports past the deadline.
We have 421 school districts. They don't always all meet every deadline. And Milwaukee's finances are very complicated. They're a very large institution.
But he calls the current circumstances at MPS a crisis.
We're at the point now where it really is a very significant challenge, even to the point of a crisis. So we had to elevate the issue to the board and let them know that they needed to take action.
Jessica Gatso, WTMJ News.
Chetta says withholding funds is not intended to punish MPS. He expects payments to resume in a matter of weeks. Time for news about your money in the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Everything in the green. Dow up 127, S&P 500 up 56, NASDAQ up 292. Inflation isn't going away. Download your copy of Safeguarding Against Inflation, Strategies for Wealth Preservation at nxwealth.com/inflation. Time for your WTMJ Sports Update. From the Gruber Law Office's One Call, That's All Sports Desk, the Brewers look to avoid a sweep this afternoon in the final game of a 3-game series against the Phillies. Coverage begins at 2:30 right here on WTMJ. And we're also taking a look at the roads with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons paving time saver traffic. I see on 4145 South, maybe about a quarter of a mile beyond the ramp from Hampton Avenue, the right shoulder is blocked due to a crash, so there's a slowdown there. I also see a disabled vehicle on 94 South, right at the exit to 158, but it seems like things are going just fine right there, and everything is flowing. Here's your WTMJ 5-day forecast. Tonight, showers and storms early. The low will be 60 degrees. Tomorrow, partly cloudy, breezy. Isolated storms are possible in the evening. The high will be 72. Friday, mostly sunny, high of 71. Saturday, partly cloudy, a slight chance of showers, a high of 74. And Sunday, partly cloudy, a high of 72 degrees. In Madison, the current temperature is 74 degrees. In Green Bay, it's also 74, and Waukesha 73. Sighting and limited WTMJ News Time 2:04.
All right, welcome back to Spanning the State. I am Brian Noonan.
And I am Kristen Bry.
And unless you've been under a rock, you've been following the stories about everything that's going on with MPS, the possibility that their state funding could be pulled because of some late filed or non-filed reports. There's a lot of confusing information coming out. It all accumulated Monday night at a school board meeting where the superintendent resigned. And with us now to kind of clear some things up is the Vice President of the Milwaukee Public School Board, Jilly Gokul-Gandhi. Jilly, thanks for being here. We appreciate it. Let's start with Monday night. The reports came out that it was a long, contentious meeting, a lot of high emotions. What was actually happening in the room, and was the end result what you expected?
Yeah, so thanks for having me on the show and the opportunity to just provide some context around what's going on. You know, the board's responsibility is, I just want to reiterate, to the community, to the kids, to our families, and our educators. And so that has been our North Star at the center of all this. And Monday night, I was actually attending to a family matter, so I drove straight from the airport to the meeting at like 1:45 a.m. So I wasn't there. I was watching on my phone, but while I'm not allowed to talk about what was spoken about in executive session, I think what you're seeing is a board who's taking the matter really seriously, responding in a timely and urgent manner to what the district needs and the direction we need to go in to ensure that we're treating the situation with the caution and care that we need, and that we can retain our state funding from DPI.
So where do we go from here? What other measures beyond Mosley's resignation need to be taken to remedy and move forward?
Absolutely. So right after the Memorial Day weekend, when the board received the communication from the Department of Public Instruction, we moved quickly. You saw on Monday we had a special board meeting to consider all of the items that we needed to get done to ensure that we can get DPI the information. So there's a couple things we're doing. One, you've seen we've brought in Todd Gray, who has impeccable credentials. He's helped out many other districts who find themselves in similar situations. And he is on the clock every day speaking with us, the board, speaking with DPI multiple times a day to get all the documentation that we need to move forward. Secondly, the board is now looking at this every single day. We're having conversations between the president and I about what staffing we need, where are the shortfalls, what labor requirements do we need in our finance department to get this done? And then third, just continuing to provide strategic direction to DPI that we are working on a corrective action plan to ensure that our aid payments will not fall through the cracks. And lastly, that this isn't going to happen again, right? So while we're responding to a situation, what the board is also doing is taking preventative measures to ensure that the process won't allow for a situation like this to happen.
Julie, you mentioned the hiring of Todd to oversee things. His salary was reported at about $48,000. Where was that money already budgeted? Where did that money come from?
Yeah, again, we had to respond to a situation that we needed an expert to come in. And so as you're looking at the dire situation, we're able to get a contract through for him. And so that is our number one priority, to get an expert in there who can help us clean this up.
What was the timeline as far as the board becoming aware? Because I think without the historic referendum, maybe the public doesn't feel as misled.
Sure.
And so what was beyond the referendum until now the board's involvement?
Yeah, so I want to take a minute just to separate this out, right? Without the referendum, we would have been in extreme dire financial straits. So that gap of $60 million would have existed regardless. And so I want to put that matter aside for just a second, because we found out the Friday that DPI sent that communication is when we found out. What you saw next was a board that responded with urgency with a special meeting over Memorial Day holiday, and now consequently with the hiring of Todd Gray. And you've seen, I think we've done more media in the last week and a half than this board has probably done in my time on it. And so I just want to reiterate that those two things are separate, and the board is taking this matter and responding as urgently and as quickly as we possibly can within the legal parameters of being a public entity.
So how did it get this bad? That's what everybody wants to know. How was it able to go this long without the board being aware that MPS was not filing the correct reports?
I can't, it's hard to reflect on that. And I think for me, what it is what are we doing now? Like once the board was made aware, what happened? And again, what you're seeing is an incredibly responsive board who's taking this with extreme urgency and diligence and making sure that the Department of Public Instruction not only has the information that we need, but that we're rectifying the problem so that we will never find ourselves in this situation again.
We're talking with Julie Gokul-Gandhi. She is the VP of the Milwaukee Public School Board. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, Julie, let's talk about what's going on between the MPS School Board and DPI. And we'll keep trying to get to the bottom of this. More after this, Spanning the State.
The Vollrath Company implemented a DocuWare content management solution from James Imaging Systems. Vollrath Director of Information Systems, John Sharp.
They've helped us upgrade from a previous version of our document management to automate our accounts payable processes, to store the invoices, do the three-way match, and really streamline those processes.
In addition to a DocuWare content management solution, the key to continued success is the James Imaging Systems Solutions Group.
And as an extension of our team, they've got intimate knowledge of why we've done some of the things that we do. And when we run into any issues, they're there to support us.
A DocuWare content management solution from the James Imaging Systems Solutions Group.
They know exactly where we are in our project cycle so that we've always got continuous improvement.
Content management and workflow automation from James Imaging Systems, your local business technology partner. Call 262-781-7700 or visit jamesimaging.com.
In the nonprofit world, finding executive-level qualified talent can keep an organization out of rhythm. Let Spano Pratt help you get your rhythm back. For more than 20 years, Spano Pratt conducted searches at the CEO, president, executive director, VP, and director levels. They're trained in board governance, offer customized research, and deliver unwavering personal attention. They don't simply help people find a job. They help them find their passion. Spano Pratt. Learn more at spanopratt.com.
At Blaine's Farm and Fleet, we get you the farm supplies you need because we get you. And with June being Dairy Month, you know we have great prices on dairy products to keep cows and calves happy and healthy. Like 50-pound bags of Waukesha Barn Lime, $2.69 for rewards members, $20 off a Wall Lister Star shearing clipper, and get 10% off assorted Better-Built transfer tanks and job site boxes. Rewards members save an extra 5%. We get you the farm supplies you need because we get you at Blaine's Farm and Fleet.
Hey, WTMJ's John Mercier here. Every year you give to your charities, you make donations, and you make a difference. But can you protect your legacy better while making that difference? Is there a more strategic way to give to charity? Join me and Annex Wealth Management's President and CEO, Dave Spano, to discuss this and more. It's our latest webinar, Tips for Smarter Charitable Giving. June 13th, sign up for this free webinar by texting WEB to the WTMJ Talk and Text line 855-616-1620. Another free webinar from our partners at Annex Wealth Management and WTMJ.
Hey, boaters! We have the go-to marine store. And it's not just because we have all the boat parts and supplies you'll ever need, including oddball parts you thought you'd never be able to find. And it's also because we're cheaper than the other guys, too. So why shop anywhere else? This is Dave Doro from Kendor Marine. Boaters in the know exactly where to go. Kendor Marine, 57th and Ryan Road in Franklin.
Hey, boaters! Cruise to Kendor Marine. We got everything you need but the water. Hey, boaters!
This is Dave Doro from Kendor Marine. When you get here, you might be overwhelmed when you see so much stuff. But don't be, because our staff knows just where to find what you need. They're knowledgeable, friendly, and willing to help so that you can find everything you need to keep your boat in tip-top shape. Boaters in the know exactly where to go. Kendor Marine, 57th and Ryan Road in Franklin.
Hey, boaters! Cruise to Kendor Marine. We got everything you need but the water.
Thinking of popping the question? Diamonds Direct has an offer you can't miss. This month only, buy a natural diamond engagement ring of 1 carat plus and receive a free natural 1 carat diamond tennis bracelet valued at $2,000. Imagine giving her the ring of her dreams and her wedding gift all at once. No one provides education, selection, and value like Diamonds Direct. Your chance to get a free tennis bracelet from your friends at Diamonds Direct won't last long. Details at diamondsdirect.com.
Welcome back to Spanning the State. I am Kristen Bry.
And I'm Brian Noonan, and we are joined by Jilly Gokul Gandhi. She is the vice president of the Milwaukee School Board. We're talking about what's been going on. We've all seen it in the news. Okay, so Jilly, when this first broke, we were hearing a lot of things about maybe MPS would affect the whole state. What is going on with your discussions, or the board's discussions, rather, with DPI?
So we're talking, almost on a daily basis, if not multiple times a day. And so that looks like getting them the information they need, reassuring them that the board is taking complete control of this matter and that we have the right staffing in place to address the issue. So those are really the three things we're focusing on right now.
And are they giving you steps to get this done? Obviously you're giving them proposals. What are they saying to you about the future? Where is the funding going to come? We've talked to somebody from DPI the other day, and they, like you at the beginning of the interview, said the priority obviously is on the students. Are they giving some sort of ultimatums? Are they saying what are they telling you?
Yeah. So they have been incredible partners in this. Truly, they have been, like I said, and I've said, we talk to them multiple times on a daily basis. They're intimately involved with Todd Gray's work. We have standing meetings in the morning. They are overseeing our corrective action plan and what we're working towards. And so, again, Todd has done this. He has worked with DPI in very similar situations. And so they have confidence that we are going to be able to get through this. And they have been really excellent partners in providing the technical assistance we need to develop our corrective action plan.
I think it's an obvious statement to say urban public school districts are hard, right? They're complicated. They're way different than suburban. They're way different problems in rural areas. Is there another city that Milwaukee and the Milwaukee School Board can look to that has figured it out? I know Miami went from being in a terrible situation to really turning it around. Is there any kind of examples that we can say maybe we should follow that playbook?
Kristen, that's such an interesting question. We work with the National County on Great City Schools. We're part of the Big Five coalition here in the state. And what we're seeing in general is an attack on public education, right? And so we're seeing lower levels of funding, smaller per pupil. And you raised the point really well. It's not just what happens in our school day. It's what's the health of the city? What's the housing situation? What's the healthcare situation? And so when you're seeing such increased pressures on people's livelihood, it's not going to separate itself from reading and math and social studies and mental health and wellness of our children who are experiencing like out of this world ACE scores, right? And so to me, it's if we want to see a change in the way we're educating our kids and we're seeing our metrics, like then we have to have a commitment to invest in our kids. And so I know that's really meta and a big answer, but again, like if we're looking for better results, like let's invest more in our children and take public schools and keeping public goods public seriously. Let's make that a priority.
Jilly, I know you can't give us any specific candidate names, but as the search for a new superintendent begins, what is the board looking for? Not that you can always assure that something like this isn't going to happen again, but that the person you bring in, one, understands what happened before so that they cannot repeat this.
I think what do you look for in a leader of any organization or institution, right? Someone who has subject matter knowledge and is also going to provide a vision and excellent leadership and direction during tough times. So I think that is really what we're looking for and what any organization aims to look for when they're going through troubling times or even just wanting to keep a ship sailed and a vision that is bigger than them. So that's what we'll be focusing on.
I know a lot of the focus has been on the financial reports. Where does the board stand as far as with the Head Start? Because that happened at the same time. And so everything that's happening with the Head Start funding, and where do we go from there?
Yeah, I think, Kristen, it's the same response, right? How this board is now more responsive and more involved with how we rectify some of those issues. So I think you're just going to see a lot more involvement and direction from the board moving forward.
Do you see the resignation of Keith Posley as the end of the personnel changes, or do you think because of this incident there may be some more people who are either let go or resign?
So I can't really comment on personnel, but what I can comment on is that we are keeping our eyes to the ground. We're using Todd as sort of our guide of what we need and what we need to add to rectify the situation moving forward.
What other stakeholders do you think need to be involved? Like you said, the board is being responsive. The board is going to be much more involved. DPI is involved. Who else or what other groups, what other organizations, what other leaders do you think need to be part of a comprehensive coalition to really improve or turn the ship around, improve the situation?
Yeah, I think over the last week and a half, you've seen who those stakeholders are. You've seen the community and families and parents show up to our board meetings, and I want to, thank them for their involvement. Like we should have full seats at board meetings every day of the year, right? And my 3 years on the board, I have experienced majority empty seats, empty audiences. And so I'm really excited to see what we can do moving forward to keep people engaged in this process and have as many sets of eyes on helping us achieve a vision to ensure that kids have the best educational opportunities possible moving forward.
And everything's on target for next school year to start smoothly, no issues. This isn't going to have any effect, correct?
No, we're ensuring that right now that's our focus so that we can really make sure that, come August, September, no one is experiencing any of the windfall from this.
Thank you. Jilly Gokul-Gandhi has been our guest. She is the VP of Milwaukee's school board. Jilly, thanks so much for coming on and clearing some things up for us. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks so much, Brian and Kristen. I appreciate the opportunity.
Thanks, Jilly.
Thanks.
The Brewers Radio Network salutes all those who are serving or have served to protect our freedom.
Hey, this is Steve Scavidi, host of the Political Power Hour. And my salute to the troops goes to my father, Dominic, who served in the U.S. Air Force overseas and in the United States. And my brother, Dave, he served in the U.S. Navy in the southern part of the United States. Thanks for stepping up for all of us and your service to our country.
This Brewers Radio Network salute to all servicemen and women is sponsored by Discount Liquor.
We find the best way to protect and uphold the reputation of our business is to hire good people and then take care of them. We really do love the people that work for us, and we care about what's in their best interest. And what that means to you is this: who do you really want on your job? Someone who's maybe underpaid or doesn't feel appreciated, might not have paid vacations or great work benefits? Our folks have all of these things and more. Vito and I make sure they feel appreciated, because happy people do happy work. There's a culture we're building here at Semper Fi that brings respect back to a very hard job. And that's why we know that our crews are going to do the kind of work that you expect. This is Brad Youngluth with Semper Fi Roofing and Exteriors, your local, veteran-owned and operated exterior remodeling company. For your new roof, siding, window and door installation, or masonry work, you can count on Semper Fi to keep you safe, warm, and dry.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semper Fi.
The surgeons that I know, they just want to do what they can to help you feel better. And the surgeries they perform can do wonders for their patients. But medicine's a business, and surgery is the big ticket item. And there are surgeries that are absolutely necessary. In almost all cases, a total knee replacement isn't one of them. It's a last resort. So before you opt for a total knee replacement, if you haven't been to Rejuvenex, you may find that we have treatments that can give you the relief you're looking for. They're FDA approved, and they can alleviate pain, in many cases significantly. And insurance could cover a big portion of, if not all of our treatment costs. The osteoarthritic pain you're feeling will only worsen, and that's why you should take action now. This is Richard Salinas, registered nurse with Rejuvenex Arthritis Clinics, where we can alleviate your pain and rejuvenate your life.
Alleviate your pain, rejuvenate your life.
Go to rejuvenex.com to request your free pain evaluation.
Outdoor living is great, but it's best when it's at your own home. Well, there's a company called Outdoor Living Unlimited that will build you a deck, a patio, pergola, fire pit, all manner of things to enhance outdoor living at your place, even an outdoor kitchen. Get started right away. Contact Outdoor Living Unlimited now. Get your yard project onto Outdoor Living Unlimited's calendar while there's still openings. OutdoorLivingUnlimited.com.
I mean, I'm tired, Brian. What about you?
It's been a long show, Kristen. We've talked for about 7 minutes, and that's how we're out of here early. We'll be out of here at 2:30 because Brewers baseball will take over then. The Brewers' first pitch at 3:05. All right, so you have a young child.
I do.
She's not school age yet.
No, but it goes fast, as they keep telling me.
It does go. It will go fast, and suddenly you'll be faced with the question: do I send my daughter to MPS, or do I fork out a lot of money for a private school?
Or do you move?
Or do you move to the suburbs?
Because, we're not that far from Whitefish Bay, which was just it's the top-ranking public high school in the state, right? And we're not far from Shorewood, which is a good district, and people leave to New Berlin.
All the time, yeah.
And so it's an interesting... I don't know if dilemma is there, but I don't think I'm alone, right? Like, I think that there is a... If we're going to be very honest, upper middle class, liberal, white, public school enthusiasts who then also come to the conclusion, well, maybe not with my kid.
Right, and there's nothing wrong with that thinking.
I know, but it is interesting, and there is, I mean, selfishly, as... maybe dramatic's not the right word, but for everything that has unfolded over the last 2 weeks, and hiring a specialist as a consultant, increased attention, really angry parents showing up to the school board meeting. And so the hope that maybe this is an inflection point where the attention is there, the coalition is being built, that this could be the point where things start to get better because there's so many more eyes on it. I selfishly would love for that to happen because I want to be able to send my kid to public school. I want to stay in Milwaukee. Yeah. And so it's interesting, and to be fair to Jilly Gokul-Gandhi, she's speaking on behalf of the board. They have to be, because I would say she deflected some on some of our answers that was not as things are still in motion and not being able to have maybe the most comprehensive answers that I think a lot of people want right now.
Right.
But I commend her for at least coming on the show.
Yeah, she did say as we joined her before the interview that the board isn't used to having to come out and answer questions like this. They don't do media. So it was good to at least get her on, and she did answer some questions. But yeah, there were a couple I would have liked a little more meat on the bone for the answer, but sometimes you can't do
and also more specifics as far as, and that's why I had asked the question of, there are other urban districts that have...
Sure.
Because urban districts are hard. CPS
yes, they are. CPS is tough.
I lived in San Francisco. No big city that I've lived in has had like a stellar public school system, because there is a intersection of problems that happen in urban districts. Right. And so it's not that there is an easy solution, but there's also urban districts that have figured it out. And so I think there is something to say, let's look at Miami, let's look at Maryland, let's look at some of these. Mississippi really turned it around as like a statewide initiative. That there's other places that we can look to and not have to reinvent the wheel.
Well, the good news is school issues will be there for a long time. We will be covering the schools as we always do, not only in Milwaukee, but around the state. Tomorrow we have a very exciting guest.
Yes, Secretary of State Sarah Godlewski is going to be here. She was supposed to come... when was she supposed to come? Like in April, I think? And she had lost her voice, which doesn't really lend itself to having a good interview on the radio when you have no voice.
Exactly.
So we were looking forward to talking to her.
Yeah, that'll be fun, and we're going to learn about eco-education for young children.
Maybe that's my backup.
Just sending them out into the
Frankie
woods.
To MPS.
That's right. You can just send her to the woods. All right. Well, thanks for being with us for our elongated show today. We'll be back tomorrow, but right now it is time for Milwaukee Brewers baseball.
Are you looking for an accounting firm that can service your growing business's needs? SVA Certified Public Accountants will deliver your organization with measurable results in the areas of tax planning, consulting, outsourced accounting, succession planning, and more. Nationally recognized by Forbes as one of America's best accounting and tax firms, yet local to the Midwest, we've got the knowledge and expertise to take your business to the next level. Go to sva.com/baseball to learn how we can provide your business with measurable results.
Get ready for Brewers baseball with Carbless, a premium ready-to-drink cocktail in a can. 0 carbs, 0 sugar, 0 gluten, and just 100 calories a can. Plus, less carbonation, which means less bloating and less guilt when drinking. Carbless is made right here in Wisconsin and offers flavors for everyone. From pineapple to black cherry or cranberry to classic cocktails like margarita and Paloma. On Brewers game days, stop at your local grocery store and pick up a pack of Carbless to enjoy at home during every pitch. Carbless, handcrafted premium ready-to-drink cocktails. Less is more.
3, 2, 1.
Get up! Get out of here! Gone! Back at the track. Gone!
To the warning track, and he looks up. It is gone!
Turns around, watches it. It is gone!
It's time for baseball on the Brewers Radio Network, presented by American Family Insurance.
Get up! Get out of here! Gone for Jackson Jorio!
Hit high and deep to left field, way back up to the monster, and gone! William Contreras.
Tonight, the crew takes on the Philadelphia Phillies at Citizens Bank Park in Philly.
Gone! Gary Sanchez! The Kraken rises! Ground ball through the left side. Contreras trots home, and Willie Adames has won this game for the Brewers.
Now it's time for the On Deck Show, built by Menards, on the Brewers Radio Network, presented by American Family Insurance.
On a cloudy and muggy late afternoon in South Philadelphia, it's the Brewers and the Phillies to wrap up this 3-game series. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the On Deck Show, built by Menards, alongside my broadcast partner, Josh Maurer, and our producer and engineer, Kent Sommerfeld. Lane Grindle with you from Citizens Bank Park. The Brewers trying to salvage a game out of this series after 2 very well-played games on Monday and Tuesday, but both going the Phillies' way by a very small margin. Brewers have called up left-hander Aaron Ashby to make his second start of 2024 here this afternoon. For the Phillies, it'll be their co-ace in Aaron Nola. The right-hander with the big curveball will be on the mound for Philadelphia. We have plenty more of the On Deck Show, built by Menards. When we return after this, we'll talk to Josh Maurer about this matchup on the Brewers Radio Network.
Brewers Radio is sponsored by Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. There is a difference. We Energies, Boucher Automotive Group, Tri-City National Bank, your local carrier dealers, SVA, a professional services company.
Get up, get out of here, and way gone.
Cannon and Dunphy, Loyal Family Renovations, Lakeland University, Lynch Automotive, Z-Bart, and Network Health on the home of the Brewers. 620 WTMJ.
Hi, John McGivern here. Did you know Network Health has Medicare Advantage plans that give you $25 a month back towards your Medicare Part B premium? That's $300 a year back in your pocket. Isn't that great? Call 833-7-NETWORK to learn more today. Network Health Medicare Advantage plans include PPO plans with a Medicare contract. Enrollment in Network Health Medicare Advantage plans depends on contract renewal. Certain restrictions apply to the Part B giveback. Visit networkhealth.com/Medicare/extra benefits for details.
A question I'm often asked, if I've been hurt in an accident, should I call a lawyer?
Pat Dunphy, Cannon and Dunphy.
If someone caused your injury, you need advice from an experienced lawyer on how to preserve evidence, document your losses, and protect yourself from the insurance company. But why can't I trust the insurance company? Despite clever, funny insurance company ads, they're in the business of making money. Paying as little as possible to you is good business for them, but not for you. I'm Pat Dunphy. Call Cannon and Dunphy.
It's ESPN Wisconsin's Ben Brust for Road America, America's National Park of Speed. Make the most out of your summer at Road America, located conveniently between Green Bay, Milwaukee, and Madison in Elkhart Lake. Come see a race at the legendary 4-mile, 14-turn road course, camp on site all weekend, and enjoy free admission for kids 16 and under with a paying adult at the gate. Make sure you get tickets for the NTT IndyCar Series race at Road America June 6th through the 9th. Come for the experience and stay for the race. Get your tickets at roadamerica.com.
Ice cream and sausage at the ballpark.
Polish, Italian, that's the sausage, not the ice cream.
You're listening to the flagship of the Milwaukee Brewers, WTMJ.
Back with you on the On Deck Show. Bill Byman, Arts, Brewers and Phillies. Wrapping up this 3-game series. Then the Brewers continue the road trip to Detroit. An off day tomorrow and 3 with the Tigers over the weekend. And Josh Maurer, these first 2 games, they've been right there for the Brewers. Didn't get the big hit in the 3rd inning when they had the bases loaded and nobody out on Monday. Had multiple opportunities, especially late in the game last night. It's just the way baseball works sometimes, but try to salvage a game out of this series here today. Doesn't get much easier. This is a great Phillies rotation, and Aaron Nola has been a big part of their success over the last handful of years.
I think the reality of the first couple of nights is when you face a team that's as stingy as the Phillies as far as giving up runs, you have to try your best to take advantage of the opportunities that are given you. And the Brewers haven't done that yet, but they've got an opportunity here. Nola, one of the games the Brewers faced him last year, it was in September, they scored 7 runs against him. So recently they have had a little bit more success, but he is still one of the better pitchers in the league.
I think one of the things that stands out about this Phillies team, you think about the headliners like Harper and Schwarber in that lineup, but what I've come away the most impressed with is the depth of their bullpen.
Really impressive, huh?
Yeah.
And the fact that you have a guy who wasn't really an impact arm, Matt Strahm, all of a sudden becoming one of the best relievers in the league, getting out of that jam in the 9th inning last night, just shows you the depth, because they didn't have Hoffman and they didn't have Alvarado available. Matt Strahm, Sir Anthony Dominguez win you a game.
Yeah, everybody's talking about the rotation, talking about that lineup, probably not talking enough about the options they have in that bullpen. Well, Brewers will try to salvage a game. We will talk to the manager, Pat Murphy, when we return after this on the On Deck Show, built by Menards, on the Brewers Radio Network.
Milwaukee Brewers baseball is brought to you by Citgo, Miller Lite, American Family Insurance, Usinger's Famous Sausage, Menards, Prevea Health, Construction Business Group, Wisconsin Infrastructure Investment Now, Delta Dental, Quick Trip, Fleet Farm, Woodman's Food Market, Pomps Tire, West Bend Insurance, The Silver Lining, U.S. Cellular, Carbless ready-to-drink cocktails, Island Resort and Casino, Coakley Brothers and Brothers Interiors, Hello Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, Wisconsin Biofuels, Cedar Crest Ice Cream, Potawatomi Sportsbook, and Wisconsin Laborers District Council on the Brewers Radio Network.
Ooh, that's gone. I did not see that one coming. Here's another surprise hit. Did you know our gas stations sell local fuel? It's true. When you fill up with unleaded 88, you can be sure more of it comes from Wisconsin. Wisconsin farmers grow the corn that becomes ethanol right here in our state. Ethanol blends produce clean fuel. It's better for your engine, better for your wallet, and it supports Wisconsin farmers. That's a home run. The next time you fill up, choose unleaded 88. Learn more at wibiofuels.org.
Medicare loses $60 billion annually to fraud. June 3rd through the 9th is Medicare Fraud Prevention Week, focusing